Hi, and welcome to my Sunday show. And today we decided to call it Hot Chocolate with Anita, or Hot Chocolate with me. And so, look, here's my hot chocolate. I deliberately put it in a clear cup today so you could see. I'd love to hear from you in the comments today. Tell me what you're drinking this morning. Now, for many of you in other parts of the world, like in Europe, this could be afternoon tea time, not morning tea or afternoon hot chocolate. For those of you in Asia, this will be evening, so this could be your night hot chocolate. But I hope you're having a wonderful holiday season, a great Christmas season if you celebrate, and welcome to my home. And today, I wanted to talk a little bit more about the near-death experience, and I found a beautiful question from someone that I would like to answer. But in the interim, if you have more questions about the actual near-death experience and going deeper into the near-death experience, I would love for you to write them in the comments now so that Danny can help me find them. Oh, by the way, Boo, while I'm drinking my hot chocolate, what are you drinking? It looks like eggnog or something.
Yeah, yeah, yes, it is eggnog.
I thought so. We were at a party last night, and many of you know him, Michael Neal. So Michael Neal had this amazing Christmas party last night. I think there were over 100 people. Wonderful food, and so that's where we were last night. And it was a lot of fun. And as I know many of you know him and know who he is, and I've done events with him. But so this morning we kind of had to scramble to get ready because, sometimes that happens when you have like a late evening out. And Michael lives like an hour and a half away. So yes, we did get home quite late last night. But it's that season. It's that time of the year. There's a lot happening right now. I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to hear in your comments whether you're drinking tea, hot chocolate, water, and also I'd love to know what you're doing. Are you celebrating the holidays? And your questions about near-death experience. So I received an interesting question. I got it quite a few days ago, but I wanted to share this with you because it's one that I think I would love to talk about more. And we're going to put it up here on the screen so that you can see it and read it along with me. The question is from someone who calls him or herself Winter Song, and they ask, can you talk more about your reality after you came back from the NDE versus the old one? I'm specifically thinking about anything woo-woo that might be in your life now that wasn't before. A lot of NDEers talk about this. They seem to come back with specific gifts and their frequency is different. I hear that they can't wear watches, for instance, because they tend to stop and they can interfere with other electrical equipment as well without intending it. I know you talked about how you actually hear your guides now, but can't remember whether you talked about anything else. I'm curious. Oh, and you also said you get a sense of what's going on in the people that ask you questions. I find these specific powers really interesting for many reasons. One of them being that we don't know what's possible. We won't know that we're actually doing it. I had no idea whatsoever that I was intuitive until I took classes in it because I didn't know how intuition worked. I'm also very interested in the tapestry you saw on the other side and the specific ways your life interacted with others' lives and even your own previous present lives. I believe there's so much you don't talk about. So that's a very long question, but there's so much to that question. It's actually multiple questions in one question, but in one, so basically, but the overarching question is, what are the differences between previously and now, and what are the things that you don't talk about? So when I read that question, I thought, that's very perceptive of the person and of Winter Moon. And the reason is that there are a lot of things that I hold back on talking about. And there are reasons why I hold back, because when you do talk about certain things, they do get labeled as woo-woo. And as we said last week, there's nothing wrong with your woo-woo and embracing your woo-woo. But what happens is, when you've had a real experience like I did that took place in the hospital, One of the first things I noticed when I came back, I mean, apart from the fact that I felt completely different, and there's no words to describe it except to say it was like I was operating on a different frequency. It was like I saw the world differently from everybody around me. But because there are no words to describe it, when I would try to describe it, I was surrounded by people who were in like very medically inclined, who could not explain what had happened. Now, when I sounded too out there or too woo-woo, I would attract people who would debunk me or naysay everything I was saying. And that didn't feel good because it felt like they were taking away what I really felt. It felt like they were undermining what I was experiencing. But it's because there is no language in medical terms to describe what I was feeling. And I was talking to people that are entrenched in a medical paradigm. And there are no words in that paradigm to describe it. And so there was a lot that I held back, because very often when the medical paradigm don't understand something, they dismiss it, or it feels like they're trying to take it away from you. And I didn't want that. I didn't want them to take it away from me because it felt so beautiful to be part of it. But it was stuff that I couldn't talk about because I had no scientific explanation for it. And things started react differently, like electronics started to work differently, technology worked differently. It felt like everything that I had, like cell phones or whatever, it felt like the batteries would discharge very, very quickly. And I couldn't understand why. I would be with Danny, my husband, and we'd both charge our phones at the same time, but mine would discharge really fast. It was like my frequency was doing something to the phone and I couldn't understand it. Lights would flicker on and off. That still happens to me when I'm at a speaking event, particularly when I talk about Wayne Dyer. The lights flicker. See, so that's super interesting for me. I love it when that happens. People who've been at my events, you've seen that. If you've been to my Omega event, my New Mexico event, you've seen that. And I have always turned to the people backstage and I've said, hey, did you guys do that? And they'll be like, no, we don't know what happened. And this has happened so many times. So things like that, like lights flickering. But there's also a lot of other stuff. Now, I don't think I'm unique in experiencing this. I think many of you experience it as well. But it is hard to talk about because when you talk about it, immediately people may want you to prove it and show it to them. Now, when you get into that energy of, oh, I need to do it now, that's the wrong energy, and it doesn't happen when you're in that energy. So people call you out and they say, no, it's just coincidence. It's coincidence. It was your imagination, or it's coincidence, or it just happened to happen. It was like a frequency switch, or whatever it is. They'll come up with some explanation, but you know it's not coincidence because it's happened to you so many times. But when you actually force it, it does not come. It just doesn't, because your frequency changes. So what is actually happening is that when you're forcing it, when someone challenges you, your frequency changes and you go from a relaxed, open to the other world, and this is blown open. If you've had some kind of an NDE or a spiritual experience or anything, something's blown open. It's like a door that's open that never closes. That's what it felt like with the NDE. And you're in this different frequency where you're open and you're receiving stuff from the other side. You're receiving a whole different energy. But the minute that you go into this place of, I call it fear, but it's not fear. Many people may not relate when I say fear, but it's almost like a desperation. It's like, oh, I need to do it now. It comes from a place of lack. It's like, I have to prove to them that this is true. Your energy shifts to a frequency that I'm going to call more a 3-dimensional frequency. So when you cross over and have an NDE, or you have a Kundalini experience or something, you touch like a 4-dimensional or 5-dimensional frequency. You've gone through that door and you fill yourself up with it and you come back with that. So you're living in that frequency. But the minute that someone says, oh, it was just coincidence, prove to me that it's true, do it now, make the lights flicker now, immediately your frequency goes down to a 3D frequency where it doesn't happen from the 3D dimension. I know that those of you who get this will understand what I'm trying to say. You will completely get it. When you're in that frequency of trying to prove it to people, you're trying to prove it to the debunkers, the naysayers, the so-called material scientists, the medical people, you're trying to prove it, it doesn't happen because you're in a different frequency. You're not in the frequency where the magic happens. The thing is, when you've had an NDE experience, or a Kundalini experience or a huge spiritual awakening, all of which are possible for you to do through processes and meditations and things. You don't have to die to do this. All of these, when you've had that experience and you've touched that level, you know what it is. And the idea is to bring that back with you here and to kind of live from that space. And I don't even want to say to hold on to it, because holding on to it even gives that feeling of scarcity that I need to work at holding on. And that's the wrong energy. It's about living with the knowing that it's always there. I always have it. I don't have to worry about it. It's there. It cannot go away. It's that knowing that keeps you in that space where the healing happens and the magic happens and you always have access to it. But remember that when you're dealing with debunkers, it can drop you back into that 3D space, which is why I'm very careful with where I share it. And it's becoming more and more important for me as I want to go deeper and deeper into these messages to really have an audience that truly get it and understand it, so we can continue to go deeper in this conversation. Because what happens is the minute you have somebody that debunks you, that puts you in the position where you have to argue with them, you're back in the 3D space and you're back to talking to people on that level. And those who are ready to move on, they're like, no, don't go there. Let's just keep moving forward. So that's kind of where I'm at now, where I no longer entertain naysayers or debunkers. We very often remove them from my page. And I used to leave them on my page because I felt it was the most loving thing to do. But I realized it also brings down the conversation for everyone else who want to go further. It kind of makes them feel like they need to prove or they need to doubt. So what we tend to do now is we tend to really focus on the people who want to go deeper and further into being more than five sensory, three-dimensional beings. It really is about realizing that you are a 6 or more sensory being, and you have access to 4 or more dimensional living if only you knew it and you were aware of it. And many of the things that I would like you to practice is spending time in nature, spending time alone, things like that, in order to access it. Meditate if that calls you. Meditation looks different for different people, which is why I don't offer a specific meditation and say go off and do this 20 minutes a day. But if it calls you, you can try transcendental meditation. But remember, do what calls you, because energetically you have to be in that space of, oh, this is appealing. This is calling to me. I have access to this all the time. This is mine. This is truly mine. And not in the space of stress and, oh my gosh, I have to take out 20 minutes today to do the meditation. That space of stress is what pulls you away from that 4-dimensional 6-sensory space that I'm talking about. Some of the other things that shift when you're in that space, you lose fear. You become fearless because you feel your, you really feel your fullness, your expansiveness, but also you feel your infiniteness. That's it. You know you're an infinite being. You know that no matter when you cross over, it will be perfect. You will have done whatever you were meant to do here. There's a feeling of infiniteness and a connectedness to all that is. It makes you a more relaxed person, less stressed. I'll tell you the other things it does. It makes me realize that everything in the world is happening for me, that everybody loves me, even the people who are horrible to me. I do feel that there's a benefit for that. I feel it's still happening for my own progress and growth, and there's a trust in that. And it's not a doormat trust. This is the difference between the old me and the me currently. The old me, there was a depletion of energy if someone was horrible to me. And the feeling was that it was a doormat feeling, like, oh, a victim. I felt like a victim. In this new feeling after the NDE, I don't feel like a victim anymore. I feel that it was my choice to come here and experience this. I'm not a victim. And it's my choice what I make of this, what this person has done for me. Oh, this is fuel for me to go further. This is fuel to drive me to the next level. So I'm no longer a victim. So that's a huge difference. Before the NDE, I was a victim, and I had to really work hard at being a victor. Now it's like, oh, the universe is for me. Everything is for me. Even the so-called negative things are happening for me to get to the next level, move forward, learn, experience, So I've had people turn me down for book deals, and I've had to realize that the universe is doing this for me at some level. And then a better book deal came along and things like that. But it really is about knowing that you are guided, and getting in touch with that. So I invite you all to really, really try and get in touch with that soul, that inner self. And over the weeks, I will be going deeper on how to do that and how to get in touch with that. But I have done a lot of other videos on it, so please check back. I actually, before I go on, I wanted to just tell you that if you have any questions on this topic, please submit them now. And I'm going to ask Danny if he has any questions on this topic, then he can just shout them out, because sometimes even the questions help me go deeper into what you really need to hear and want to hear. And I'd love to hear if you're resonating with what I'm saying. So do we have any questions or comments so far, Abu?
There is a question that's just come in. It's sort of on topic. It says, Anita, knowing what you know now, if you found out that you were going to pass over in one day, how would you spend your last day?
That's really interesting. I would spend my last day telling everybody how much I love them, and telling them that this is the perfect time for me to go, and I would feel good that my legacy lives on, and I would want people to know that they don't have to, that I would want them to celebrate life, celebrate my life, celebrate their life. Don't grieve. I know that some people will probably miss me, my closest people, but I would say that don't grieve, that I know I'm going to be totally fine, but I would go out of my way to reach out to everyone and tell them, don't be afraid. One of my biggest concerns, I tell people not to be afraid, but this is one of my concerns or fears, is that so many people have listened to my message and it's given them hope. I never want you to lose that hope, no matter what happens to me. And for me, this is really important to say that. So I thank you for that question, because you've given me the opportunity to say this. I don't want you to feel that everything I've shared with you is not true, because you may feel that, oh, if it was true, she wouldn't have died. The truth is, we all have to go at some point. We all do. It doesn't make everything I say untrue. So I want you to still know that if it has helped you heal, if it has helped you move on to the next level, no matter what happens to me, don't let anything that happens to me take that away from you. This is what it means to own your own power. When you receive healing, or when you receive insights from a message, whether from me or anyone else, those insights are yours. That healing is yours. I may have just been a catalyst for it, but it didn't come from me. It came directly to you. So don't let anything that happens to me take that away from you. And it goes for any healer, teacher, facilitator of healing that you may encounter in your life. If they helped you and then they get sick, it does not take away from what happened to you. Don't let that suddenly put you into fear and feel, oh my God, it didn't work for them. That is not true. It helped you. It worked for you. Take it and run with it, because it was your own direct line that got triggered by something they did or they said. Everybody's only a facilitator. So yeah, I had a chance to say that because I've often thought of that if something happens to me, I worry more about how, oh my God, I don't want it to take away from everything that's happened to all of you. So there you have it. So that was a good question. Thank you. So if you have another one, I'll go for another question, and otherwise I will keep going.
Are you reading the YouTube questions, or am I reading them?
If you have them, I would love for you to read them, because for me, they're not popping up.
Okay.
This is the problem.
This is the problem with you NDE people.
I know, technology just, yeah, it short circuits.
You guys just break technology.
I know.
Okay, here's a YouTube question from Deepika, who says, hey Anita, how do you make important choices and decisions in life after your NDE?
That's a good question too. So in the past, before the NDE, I would make choices and decisions in a more practical way, almost like, I guess, lists. You know, I would look at lists and I would create lists of all the pros, all the cons. If I do this, then what? If I do this, then what? After the NDE, I literally just feel into it. And so I'm going to totally go into woo-woo and literally feel into it and feel the frequency. So what does it mean about feeling the frequency? So it's like, I ask myself, when I'm feeling super happy, and it's like thinking like, when I'm feeling super happy, I'm at a high frequency. When I'm feeling gratitude, contented, when I'm in love with my life, when I'm with people I'm surrounded by who I love, that's when I'm at the high frequency. I like to do things that feed that frequency. And I like to keep myself at that frequency. But if I fall from that frequency, if something happens, something like my mom gets hurt or somebody in my family passes away, of course in that moment you feel, you feel sad, you feel grief, you feel pain for that person. But the generalization of my life is like, okay, that's my frequency. So when I make a decision, like let's say a decision for a project, or in some cases for many of you, it could be a job, a career, a calling, I want that decision, what I decide to do, to meet that frequency. If taking that decision, that job, that project is going to bring me down from that frequency, then it's not a good choice. That's how I decide. So basically, I want to be at this frequency. If making this choice or going out to this place or hanging with these people is going to bring me down from that frequency, then it's like, no, I don't want to lower my frequency. At a higher frequency, you can help more people. You build an equity of energy. So if you think in terms of energy, the longer you run at a higher frequency for, the more you're building an equity of energy. So if it's a commodity, if energy is a commodity, you're kind of, your frequency is building that commodity. Every time you're at a lower frequency, at a lower energy, you're depleting your energy. And so the higher your frequency and the longer you're in it, the more you can help those in pain. So even when something brings you down, you bounce back very quickly. So those things that bring you down, they are things that happen that are beyond my control. But I would never choose a situation, a relationship, a project, a job that actually brings my frequency down. I would never do it out of choice. So that's how I make my decisions. And that's a great question too. So also talking about energy and frequencies. So if you think in terms, here's an analogy I like to use for people. Now you remember the days when 3D movies were really popular, and you used to go into the theater and they would hand you these 3D glasses, and when you would watch the movie, it was like the movie would come alive. It was like things were coming right at you and going past you. Those glasses made it look like that stuff was coming out of the screen. The last 3D movie I saw, I think, was Avatar. And and it was like the creatures and all were like coming right at me. And I used to love watching those 3D movies, and I think they're less popular now, who knows. But imagine if in life, we're living a 3D life. You don't need those 3D glasses when you're moving through life. But imagine if you had a pair of glasses that allowed you to see in 4D. And so you put on the glasses and then the world became 4D. So what would 4D look like? To me, 4D would mean you'd be able to see energy. You would be able to see people's energy and trees' energy and animals and your pet. And you'd be able to see when their energy is expanded or depleted. So imagine that you put on your glasses and it's like, oh my gosh, that friend of mine, her energy is depleted. Let me go help her uplift her energy. Oh my gosh, my parents, or whatever it is, or the kid at school who's being bullied, their energy is depleted. So what you would notice is that the people whose energy is depleted for a prolonged period of time, they become the most prone and susceptible to illness. The people whose energy is expanded for the most prolonged period of time, they are filled with health and vibrancy and joy and energy. So now imagine if you started to notice what it was that depletes your energy and what it was that expands your energy. Imagine you notice that, oh, when I do things that are really tiring, draining, my energy gets depleted. When I feel like a doormat, my energy gets depleted. But when I feel loved, my energy expands. When I'm with people, when I hang out with people who love me or my friends, my energy expands. So now if you can actually see it happening, you will actually make choices that cause your energy to expand. And imagine if you can actually see that when your energy is depleted, it starts to affect your health. You're going to make different choices because you're going to be able to see in real time immediately that, oh, when I do this, my energy is expanding. And that expanded energy is helping to feed my health as well. So it would cause you to make different choices. And if you imagine that you're wearing these glasses, what choices would you make? That's kind of how it feels to have an NDE. It's like, oh wow, we're not 3D beings, we're 4D beings, and immediately we're affected by everything that happens around us, our energy. We've never given it any thought, but I can affect my energy at any moment. I can do things that make it expand, and other things that feeling like a victim and all can make it shrink. Being bullied can make it shrink. And when you're expanded, you have so much energy that you can be with people whose energy are low and shrunk, and you can uplift them just by sharing your energy with them. And so this is another huge thing that happens when you allow yourself to see yourself as a 4 or more dimensional being or a 6 sensory or more being, and you allow yourself to expand your energy and see that as being more real than your physical body. That's been a huge thing for me since the near-death experience, where I have actually placed so much more value on energy than on just the physical. The physical was more tangible, and in the past I used to be scared of being woo-woo, but after the NDE I knew I had to do what I had to do, and even if I didn't talk about it, I was living that way. So yeah, those are some of the huge differences since then. And do we have more questions?
I'm just scrolling.
Yeah. So maybe I would also like to just mention at this point that that we are building an online platform which should be ready in a few weeks, which I'm so excited about, because the online platform will be a safe arena for everybody to talk about this kind of thing. And on the platform, it will also allow me to interact with you via video. You can also appear on video and ask me the questions, and we can interact, actually have an exchange with each other. That's what's really exciting for me. And we can actually experiment with energy experiments, and we can actually do group meditations to uplift energy and things like that. And it will be a safe place where all we do is keep on uplifting and uplifting and uplifting, and it will be like we will be cocooned. And so Sometimes social media can be a little bit of a minefield, especially if people are super sensitive. So that's why we wanted to create this safe arena for us to actually come together and play and experiment and expand our energies. So I am super excited about that, and I can't wait for it to be launched. Danny's overseeing it. We've got a couple of people working on it. Danny's overseeing it, and every day I'm like, oh, how close are we? How close are we? And he keeps saying, if you'd stop interrupting me, we could get on with it. Because this is the other problem. I keep distracting him. I keep wanting to play, unfortunately. I keep dragging him to fun places, and he says, I need to work. We need to get this platform out. So yeah, we have a little bit of that going on. You get pretty tired of me sometimes, don't you? I know he's kind of thinking no. Yes?
No comment. But hang on.
Yes.
So you're saying that on the platform,
Yes.
you want to be able to see. Hang on. We've got 312 people on YouTube right now.
Oh, that's wonderful.
And we have got, holy crap, excuse my French, 534 people on Facebook watching live right now.
So that's almost
800 people watching.
That's more than 800 people. Wow. So I want to be able to see all 800 of them.
Okay, so hang on, let me get this straight. You want to see all 800 people.
Yes.
And you want to be able to do this like a live thing every week.
Yes. You're the tech whiz. I'm sure you can make that happen.
So Tea with Anita with 1,000 people.
Oh, how fun.
Well, okay. All right. Then we can't do it on YouTube and Facebook. We really have to bring everybody into the platform.
Yes, I think that would be a great idea.
Okay.
We'll still do the YouTube and Facebook videos, but I really want to conduct some energy experiments and stuff. So that should be fun.
Okay. All right.
And I promise I won't interrupt you too much the next couple of weeks so that you can create the platform. I'll try not to. I can't help myself sometimes. I keep going, Boo, do you want to go out and try this? Look at this that's happening. Oh, I'll try.
Okay. Are you also going to be doing energy experiments on the cruise?
Yes.
Oh, okay. All right. I just wanted to make sure.
Yes,
because
energy experiments are
under
fun.
the open sky and the water is probably the most place to have fun with things
Oh,
like this.
yeah. Energy experiments are really fun because we entrain each other. We literally uplift each other. And I found out, I used to do it only at my live events, and I still do it at my live events and my retreats and cruises. But I found out you can do it online as well. We tried it. My last online course, and it actually works. If we're all tuned in at the same time, we can do it together. You can do it right now. Let's all just send love to everybody who's tuned in right now. Just send love to everybody. And just tune in. You know what I want to do? Maybe next week, the last video of the year, let's do a meditation where we all come together, sending energy to the whole planet together. Let's experiment with that. Next week's live YouTube and Facebook, we're going to do, at least for part of it, we're going to do a meditation that's going to uplift all the people who participate in it, because we're going to do it together and entrain each other, and we're going to uplift the whole planet for 2020. So that's going to be the last one. I think it's the 29th, 1 week from today, same time, same place. So tune in for that one.
I just hope
what a great idea.
I just hope YouTube lets you do this.
Oh, why wouldn't they?
Well, you know how YouTube is really, really weird if we use...
music.
If we use proper music.
That's why we didn't have the music for the 2 minutes running up today. Because even though we have purchased the license for it, we have actually purchased it. We paid for it. We've got the number to allow us to use it on YouTube and everywhere, and Facebook. YouTube still causes us problems about the music. And we've sent them everything they've asked for, and they still haven't approved it. And it's been, I think, a month or quite a few weeks. But so we'll have to find music from YouTube's own library. That's what we'll have to do.
Yeah, but that's wallpaper music.
I know, but our energy will supersede that.
Maybe we can have that. I wonder if we can have that section of the platform up and running. If everybody subscribes to your newsletter, they'll get the absolute latest up to the last second news.
Yes, of the platform. So my newsletter, if you go to my website, anitamoorjani.com, subscribe to my newsletter, you'll get all the news on the updates of the platform and whatever else we're doing, meditations, online stuff, events, everything. So that would be great. So have we got any more questions?
Yeah, I got distracted for a second.
See, I always distract him.
Let's see. Watching from New York. I love listening to you, Anita. Yay.
You might need to speak a little louder. Today somebody wrote in and said Danny speaks too softly.
Okay, I'll learn how to project my voice. I need Shakespeare theater training.
Yes. I don't know why I can't see the comments on mine. But still, I think it's because I am the owner of the, I'm basically the administrator. If I was one of the viewers, I'd be able to see the comments. You can come into the screen. So, you've signed in as a person, not as a admin. So this is great. There are comments. Online seminars, meditation experiments are great. No traveling required and all can participate. Yes, that's the reason why I do it. No traveling required. Yes, thank you for watching. Oh, thank you for all the comments. They are amazing. I'm looking for questions. And, thank you. People are saying, Setsuko, hi, thank you. Thank you for your greetings. Zoom technology, yes, we're going to be using Zoom technology for platforms. Hundreds can be seen at a time, exactly. And when you ask questions, you can actually, you get highlighted, and so that's what I like. You can have an interaction. Kathy K says, where I work, many people enjoy small talk. I think that's fine, but I prefer to stay in my office. But it seems people don't engage with me as much as a result of my quietness. How do I handle this? Even if you don't enjoy small talk, you can be out in the energy of it. And when you're there and you just smile and you just smile and you just say yes, but you're just kind of soaking in the energy and sharing your energy, and they feel your presence, they will start to include you more, because we underestimate our presence. Our presence brings an energy, and many people aren't aware of how much your energy brings. Have you noticed there are people who can walk into a room and you can see them and you can sense them even before you see them? You just know the energy in the room has changed, and you turn and you look and there's somebody with big energy that's walked into the room. So don't underestimate your energy. Just bring your presence and just work on your own energy, and people will include you. Thank you for sharing the energy of the Divine Mother with all of us. Aw, you're so welcome. And Eloisa says, oh my God, thank you. You're answering my questions. Yay, without having to ask. Thank you. I am looking forward to the new platform. And greetings from Finland. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much, all of you. I have Rosie Penna. I remember you. I met you in Pasadena at Wayne's event years ago. I have fibromyalgia, so I often feel sad, like I am in pain. How do I raise my energy when I always feel so horrible physically? I know that's a really tough one, when people feel physically in pain. So one of the things I ask you to do is, if there are things, I'm not asking you to take drugs, but if there are natural supplements that can help you to alleviate the pain. Now, one thing I do know is that certain types of meditation can also help you to alleviate the pain. So when you can feel less pain, and when you can do what it takes to feel less pain, then when you are in less pain, then start doing other things that uplift your energy. So do it step by step. But the first step is, don't judge yourself for being in pain. So step number 1 would be, don't judge yourself. Don't feel like you're failing. Don't feel like you're doing something wrong. This applies to any situation you're in right now. I can't remind you often enough. Don't judge yourself. So first step is acceptance. Not judging yourself means accepting. This is where I am right now. I still love myself. I love myself through the pain, the hurt, whatever I'm going through. The one thing I'm not going to stop doing is I'm not going to stop loving myself. The other thing I'm not going to do is I'm not going to judge myself for being here. So it's acceptance. Don't judge yourself. Then the second step is, what can I do to alleviate that pain? What can I do to make myself feel more at peace with where I am? And then even if it means taking certain supplements or remedies to alleviate the pain, for some of you, if you need meds, go for it. Don't judge yourself for needing meds. Just avoid things like opioids because those are addictive. But if you need to have the occasional pain med, I don't speak out against that because some people really do need to. But go as light as you possibly can with pain meds. And then remember though, when you are taking a pain med, even if it's a herbal supplement, think of it as, this is just temporary. It's a stepping stone. This is not the solution. This is a stepping stone to the solution. Just take things to alleviate your pain for as long as you need it to get out of that situation. But there are other things as an alternative to pain meds, which can be herbal remedies or even types of meditation and types of mind work and trance work that can help you out of pain. When you can alleviate the pain to a bearable level, that's when you start then, so you can come to terms or become at peace with the pain. That's when you start reaching for things that increase your energy. One of the first things to reach for that can immediately increase your energy is gratitude. Find the things in your life that you are grateful for, and they could be anything. It could be the things in your body that actually work. It could be people in your life that you're grateful for, people who are seeing you through this journey. It literally could be anything. So reach for gratitude. Gratitude really ups your energy. And this goes for anyone, wherever you are at in your life. Gratitude really increases your energy. And then after gratitude, it becomes easier to step into the space of joy. Joy is when your energy is fully expanded. And if you could wear those 4D glasses, if you could see yourself, you would see your energy step by step. Gratitude, you would see, oh, look at that. And then from gratitude, it's like, what am I joyful about? What can I do that brings me joy? Let me play with my puppy. Let me go somewhere on a road trip, a fun trip, or take a trip somewhere. And you see yourself with joy. You would be able to see that energy. And you would be able to see how when you take that energy with you in a room full of other people, how they suddenly light up because they're lit up by your energy. And one more thing I want to say before I finish about energy. When your energy is high and strong, people come in and meet you at your energy level. When your energy is down and low, people who are at that same low level, they're able to come and meet you at that level. And what ends up happening is that it keeps you at that level or it continues to drain you. So it's basically like if you consciously elevate your energy, you can actually intend that that you are only affected by those who can meet you at your energy level and continue to expand your energy level. You have the strength to do that. You don't get bogged down by those with lower or weaker energy levels. When you are at a place where you're unsure, unshaken, unable to feel your own energy, and you're still trying to build it up, that's when it's really important to be careful where you're leaking energy, because it's very easy to deplete it. But if you just focus on keeping yourself at a higher energy for a prolonged period of time, that's where you really get to a space where you can help other people and you don't have to worry about your energy being depleted. You get into a habit of constantly building energy equity. It means constantly refueling yourself more and more and having so much available that nobody can bring you down. That's the idea. That's really the idea, is to be able to uplift other people from your own energy. So on that note, I just want to express my gratitude to all of you, but I have to turn it over to Danny for his closing words. Over to you, Boo.
If you've enjoyed this episode of Hot Chocolate with Anita, you see, I even remembered that.
You remembered it was
If
hot
you've
chocolate.
enjoyed this episode of Hot Chocolate with Anita and you'd like to tune in next week for the normal Tea with Anita, please mark it in your diaries next Sunday, 9 a.m. Pacific. Sign up to Anita's newsletter where you'll get a reminder of the upcoming show. Anita said we're going to be doing meditations,
Yes.
so there may be something special that we'll ask you to do or something to be able to make sure we can bring in all of you for that meditation.
Yes. So if you're going to tune in next week, if it's possible for you to be in a position where you can be comfortable and relaxed and not be driving, that would be great. If you are driving, just don't really pay attention to that while we're doing the meditation, if you are driving while listening. So for next week, but if you're able to be seated in front of your phone or iPad or computer and just in a relaxed position, that would be the best. And so we're going to send out a huge energy upliftment to everybody in the world that needs it, including yourselves. So that should be fun. And tell all your friends and family who need some extra energy and anyone you know who's struggling to tune in next week.
This is the bit where you point to the bottom of the screen.
Oh, yes, that's right.
With two hands. So if you enjoyed, please remember, if you're on YouTube, subscribe. Please leave your comments. We'd love to know what you think about the show.
Yes.
We'd love to know anything at all and any ideas that you'd like to share with us. And please also remember, subscribe to Anita's newsletter. It'll have so much information and more.
You do that so well.
Thank you very
and
much.
Just know that I apologize if we didn't get to your question. I do read the questions later. As you saw that we posted Winter Song's question, and your questions are the inspiration behind each of my shows. So keep them coming. Thank you so much. Love you all. Have a wonderful Christmas if you celebrate it. I will show you what I get.
Christmas. We
Yes.
wish you a
You're good at that.
Thank you.
And I'll show you some of the presents that I get from under the tree. But have a wonderful Christmas, and I can't wait to see you all next week. Bye.